Like I've heard a lot of amazing stuff about you, man. I heard that like if you don't feel comfortable with this, tell me. I heard that you had like kind of like you had to overcome a lot to get to this point. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I had a big deal. I guess it's like overcoming for everyone is different. You know what I mean? For someone that is in, a war-torn country, they've got a lot of shit to deal with that we've never really dealt with. That it depends on your how big your comfort zone of what you've dealt with is. You know what I mean? So, but for me, it's like, yeah, definitely. I think compared to a lot of other people, I haven't overcome a lot, but maybe internally, everything's different for different people. So yeah, definitely coming from where I was to now, huge different person. You know what I did the other day? I did something very interesting. I went back into old school Facebook, like when it first started. So it was like 15, 16-year-old Sam. And I was like, wow, really different, really interesting. Very, very, the word that came across was unconscious, just not aware of what he was doing, not aware of anything, kind of very lost a little bit. And the comments, and I had to look, there was mad bullying, so much bullying I'd actually repressed. I didn't even know. I went there, I was like, like, this is insane. Like comment after comment after comment. I was like, wow. Like there was this one thing that someone sent to me and said it was like a Facebook group. Back in the day, you used to send Facebook groups to people and stuff. This one was on the wall, and it said that one quiet kid in high school that's bound to kill everybody after he leaves. And I was like, whoa, like that was full on. And then it was funny because I was like, oh, like I have come through a little bit of shit. I didn't even realize, you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess it's like, well, what I've done is, I actually learned this yesterday, is what I've done is actually taken those negatives and what are the benefits of all this? What is the benefit of it? And people can do that. It's like there was no benefit from it. Well, there it is. You know what I mean? When I had that first breakup that led me to RSD, I look back now and that is the catalyst of my life. That is the number one moment where I was like, if I saw that girl, I am kissing that girl's feet. I am like, thank you for everything you've done. You know what I mean? Because like that, the benefit of that was that it made me very depressed when I was in a low down spot. It also had the rubber band effect where I just like shot up, found RSD, found this, found that, became the version I am to the person I am today. And I'm like, wow, go back into the days where I was with the girl just before it. It was like, I wish I was living above the nightclubs. I wanted to have a place in the water and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, I'm here. Holy, like 5 years, 6 years. Oh no, wait, hang on. That was 8, 9 years later. I'm here exactly because of that moment. I'm like, whoa. So I'm literally just finding the negative, stacking the benefits until I get to the actual truth of it. Because that's what a lot of things. We have a negative event, and then we also have a opposite effect, because whenever we have a negative, so say example, the guy that I was looking at is like a teacher calls out everyone's names in school and their results in a thing, and you come last, right? And you're mortified. You're like, oh, I'm crying. You're crying. It's terrible. It's social pressure, all these other things that happen. The opposite effect of that is like, I want to be really good. I want to be at the top, right? But that can come with disillusion. So you find the benefits of the negative event, and you kind of bring back down the fantasy of it to what the actual truth is. So without the negative event of you being last in the class, you would have never pushed yourself into maths. You never would have got better and better and better. And that's what happened to me. And they go to advance, get better at maths, get better at statistics, learn stocks. And now, because of that one event, you're pretty good with money. So is that a negative or a positive? That's just an example that a lot of people can take. And I'm sure you have some that you're like a catalyst in your life that you've kind of.
Yeah. Well, for you, all right. So like watching your kind of stuff, like exactly what you're talking about, that's the reason, honestly, you're at where you're at now. Why you have like on your Instagram alone, Sam Matheson, for anybody who wants to check that out. On that thing alone, like I was looking at it, you have some really gorgeous girls, and they're all like super friendly, cool ass girls. They're not just like attractive girls without any personalities that are flat. Like you get like an LA over here in LA. I don't know if you ever talked to LA girls. Like they're
Yeah,
sweet girls.
yeah,
Um,
they're really good. They're actually very, very dope individuals. And I guess you come through it. Don't get me wrong. It's never always been like that. You're always with it. And I'm sure you've dealt with
relapses. Yeah.
individuals, but they're on their journey. You're on your journey. It's like you can disappear, and that's what you kind of separate yourself, and then get around high vibrational people. But then again, it's evolving, because when you're evolved, you might not resonate with the people that you're at. I'm at a position right now where it's like, I don't hold on to much. I don't try to hold on to a lot of things. I'm not very, people call it materialistic, but like I know a lot about the world of duality. So for like, if I, someone could be like, I want to hold on to my friends that I've got, I'm very much like, well, I know that there'll be an end to this friendship. I know there'll be an end to this relationship. I know and I'm okay with those things. Law of duality. If you're not okay with something, you're not also allowing the other to happen. So if I'm okay with allowing a friendship, like a best friendship, a relationship, to disintegrate that, to disintegrate, that I'm also not allowing it to fruit into the fruit that it is. So it's this duality kind of thing. So a lot of the time it's like, you see me with those high quality girls, it's the number one thing is, and I'm allowing them to, if the relationship ever goes or anything like that, if it breaks down, it's because I'm okay with that. I'm not holding someone, I'm not putting my ego or trying to attach to that a lot of the time. I'm just letting it be itself, letting it run its course, And that's
Dude,
what a lot of people.
I need to hook you up after this call. I need to hook you up with one of my friends named Marcus.
Yeah.
You would love the shit out of him. Yeah, that Marcus.
Are we
He
talking
actually
about,
he was in the immersion crew, dude. He makes a,
Adatake?
what is it?
Marcus Adatake?
Yeah, Asian.
Yeah, we might have to
Yes,
blur the
yeah,
name.
dude, he's dope.
Yeah, I know Marcus for sure. Yeah. I saw all these things that popped off with, SD, the San Diego dude.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say too. That was actually something I only realized recently too, which I think it
Yeah.
comes back to like the spiral dynamics type shit. It's like at a certain point, like whenever you're trying to evolve and get to a certain spot, you're not like coming from a place of complete lack. It's really tough to tell somebody, just be a loving, caring human because they're gonna do it from a place of trying to manipulate you. So what you gotta do is like,
They call that Machiavellianism.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a hidden intake. This hidden. Yeah, I love that word. It's a fucking great word.
Well, those people will take what you're talking about and look at it as weakness almost. So, like, if you want to draw amazing friends to you, firstly, you have to work on being a good friend yourself because a like attracts like. And it's like an upward spiral kind of thing. You got to like work your way through, but you almost got to conquer shit. So for me, I couldn't get comfortable with girls until I got to the point where I couldn't be loving towards a woman until I got to the point where I had so many options women to a point where I had so many sexual experiences with women that it just became a point where I was just like, I don't really care if I have sex with dudes, chill, but I'm okay with being friends too. And it actually came to where I can do that, try to like even like I'm okay with being in the friend zone, then the girls won't let me be in the friend zone. It's like
Yeah, sure.
it's a mind fuck. It's like a total mind fuck. These guys are like trying to chase these girls down, and it's like, dude, like if only you knew that if you can like literally let go of that in some way, form, or fashion, kind of like work that out. Literally, like it's so easy. Like talking to you right now, I can see like in your eyes, kind of like that. Like I don't know. I know Tyler always says that shit, and it sounds so fucking woo woo.
Yeah,
But I know what he's saying though. Like you can see in somebody's eyes how they think or feel.
yeah,
Um,
you can see it's like one of the biggest things. As you said, it's like a guy will take that, or a girl will take that and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna pretend like I don't care, and it's just like with this hidden intention underneath everything you do.
yeah.
Intention. Okay, well, if I do this, it's going to create this result, and I'm going to get what I want. It's like, well, you may as well be forthcoming with what you want at the start. That will work out better with you. But then you get to a point where you're like, I don't, I'm very comfortable where I am. I'm very accepting where I am. And then that's when you have what we're talking about, where it's just like you're so at ease that people can just feel that it gravitates them. They're like, I want that sort of dynamic.
Yeah, well, I don't think you know this. Do you remember when you first met me, like at the in Hollywood?
In the big house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can
dude,
kind of.
I was in such a different headspace when you first met me then, dude. Even Marcus says that too. When I think about that, you were so like even then you were really like just had a really bubbly, almost like childlike happy energy. And it made me feel really good too. Cause I was in a depressed place at the time too when I met you. I remember talking to you. It was like you were kind of like the light in the room, kind of like that kind of energy. It was like really like kind of like took like weight off you almost. I don't know if that makes any
Oh,
sense.
well, it was. I'm trying to remember that one. Was it downstairs?
It
Like
was
where the
by a fireplace. We were actually talking about going out and gaming together. And we were gonna go hit the street, and we never got the chance to do it. I remember talking about it. I was like, I remember that energy and how just happy and relaxed you were. I've been searching for that for a long time, honestly.
I mean, I think it definitely comes down to the people you put yourself with for sure. You know, and that can be something with you. I've always put myself with someone that is much better than me with everything. Even my roommate, I guarantee he's better than me at everything in the world. But not only does that make me stronger, that pushes me, that propels me. It's like we're, hanging out with Owen and stuff like that. It's like, well, the reason why I searched for Owen was because it's like he was the person that was, the best that I thought at the time, it maybe spiritually, emotionally, physically, everything like that. So I was like, I want to put myself around that. And that's the biggest thing. It might not be the 5 people, how Jim Rohn says the 5 people. It might just be the one person. You just need one. Go after one person. And then usually the people around that person are also on the same vibe as that person. So I just did that. Even with the guy that I'm with now, like, he's my roommate, and I'm just like, he's got a great energy. It calms me. It sort of humbles me a lot more. And that's what might be something that a lot of people can take on from what I can get at that one person, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I think you like, I don't know, there's like a couple of guys that I've seen, Sin City Veteran, I think that's a cool dude or something like that. Yeah.
He actually lives next door to me now.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know these people, but I've seen, like, I'm very perceptually aware of everything, So I'm just like, oh, there's some cool people, because again, it's like I do that. I think bigger than my country. I think like, oh, what's Vegas doing? What's LA doing? What's New York doing? Just keep that kind of like.
Well, that guy is massively connected over here in the Hollywood area, dude. He's a very helpful guy. He's a very giving person. Like, if you come out here, definitely hit him up. He knows everybody out here.
Sweet. Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, I think, yeah, that mentors is a big thing. Is like, not everyone does that. I'm sure you're a mentor to a lot of people, which is fantastic. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, I think everyone needs that one person that they can feel completely comfortable with. It's a weird thing, With Owen, it was like I was completely comfortable with him. I could talk to him about anything. And that's what you need, that person that you can riff ideas off, that might be a little bit ahead of you, can tell you, like, you need to do this, and you actually do it because you respect them so much too at the same time. And yeah,
Owen's such a caring person too. Like, I was so surprised. I thought at first, so I was, when you first, I don't know if you remember, like, when you used to be in a lower place, I thought that everybody was trying to fuck me over. If I saw somebody on a YouTube video trying to be nice about shit, I'd be like, oh, he's just trying to scam you and shit. Like, there's people that just authentically are just like caring human beings that just want to make a purpose and a difference. And I think about that a lot. It's like, people watch my shit sometimes. They think I'm a scammer or something like that. I'm like, no, I'm trying my best to help people out, man. I want to help people out. I like it.
I love Gary Vee's mentality about it. It's like, if they're watching you and leaving negative comments, it's like, man, they still watched you. They still gave their time up. All you can do is be thankful for them giving their time up, And that's the thing, yeah, definitely. Especially with, like, I know that you're big on TikTok too, and I'm getting there. It's like, yeah, there's some people that, because you only got 60 seconds, you can be misinterpreted very quickly, So especially with me. So it's like, I always just gave love.
You just hit 100,000.
Maybe it was. Right? Yeah, 100K. I just hit it.
Yeah, I'm still below 70, man. You're wrecking the game, dude. I remember I didn't look at yours for a second. I think you had like 5,000. And I saw some of your stuff on your Instagram, I think. And then I looked over, I'm like, oh, damn. I was like, man, he's popping off over here. And I was really happy. It's
well, a lot of the inspiration was actually taken from you. I saw you doing it with your Dark Ticks video. They were hitting millions. And I was like, man, that's fucking killer. And then,
it's the appearance from A.G. Hayden.
I love that. Yeah, so I was like, damn, he's really popping off, especially with, he's got like, what, 3.6 million or something like that. So I'm like, man, there's a market for it. Then I did some deep diving into TikTok, and then I realized their aging process and what they're doing to become more informational than dancing. Well, and I was like, oh, okay, let me jump on that, because they did their thing. They beta tested it in Singapore, China, and Japan. It became very dancey, apparently. This is what I learned on the Clubhouse thing. And then they were like, they wanted to transform it a little bit more into more of a search thing, or more of an aged app. So they wanted to push like information. That's how they age an app, apparently. I was like, oh, sweet. Like, so we're in the perfect niche, bro. Absolutely perfect niche.
Well, it's really good organic reach. The problem is, like, obviously, like, the numbers on TikTok don't convert as easily over into like maybe money. Like YouTube's better for like money making and stuff like that. But getting your name out there, building Instagram followers, getting people listening to you, and also it's really good for like maybe like verification, like basically when somebody's trying to like look to you for advice, they're like, oh, look, this guy has so many followers. I've been going out every day now, gaming now for coming up on a year, because I want to get my game to that point where the infield's fucking fire, which I'm not trying to get in trouble over that. Huh? It's fire now, but I want to be like.
Oh, I like that. I like that you don't think it's where it's at. That's good. That's the hunger. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you want. Like, don't think it's like, don't take the praise of these other guys saying it's amazing. I like that fire. You're like, I gotta keep going, gotta keep getting to that level, because that's a personal thing. That's a thing that's going to strive you forward.
I think about it quite a bit in this kind of regard. So for me, I'm very driven by purpose and mastery. I'm not very driven by money, which is why John over here has helped me out because John's like, dude, you're a dumbass. Which I totally agree with him. I am a dumbass. So I'm a lovable dumbass though, so I can get away with some stupid shit.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, I wanted like, so I was thinking about it for a long time and I was like, man, I want to be so good at this kind of stuff. Like, so obviously I saw Julian and Julian inspired me in a way because I was like, man, I mean, a lot of it was a little bit unempathetic at times, which is a direction I probably wouldn't want to take it. And also too, maybe I'm misinterpreting the situation, but I definitely want to be like that kind of good to the point to where it's kind of mind bending. I want to, I have a lot of theories on how humans work. And I'd like to like just actively be able at any moment to like prove a point. Cause like a lot of guys think that looks are the end all be all. I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, like looking clean helps out because like if you look clean, it means you have a respect for yourself. If you dress in a way that makes you look like you're trying to like, I don't know, cover your body up and stuff like that, you wear dirty jeans, like obviously it's gonna indicate to a girl your lower status or you have low self-esteem. But if you act a certain way, it doesn't matter. Like like the way that you the way that you talk, the way that you carry yourself, the status, the energy that you give off, that ethereal energy, almost like this like halo effect. Like when you talk to a girl, I went out with like when I was overweight, I had like sweatpants stained, and girls would still love the crap out of me if I had the right energy. I don't know if you vibe with that or that makes sense or if like
Yeah.
you agree.
I think there's always a limit to where people are like, oh, sweet, I can go out now dressed completely like ratchet and like, not do this, not do that. And I'm like, there's always a point, you know what I mean? So it's like, I always say it's like, just the basics. Shower every day, cologne on all the time. I always wear cologne, brush your teeth. It's like, they're the minimums, you know what I mean? Get a haircut every now and then. That's like sweet. Obviously if you're not growing your
Yeah.
hair out, what you mean, it's like, it only matters to the person, so it matters to the other person when you care about it, you know what I mean? We're like, oh, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not short enough. Then the other person cares about it because you care about it. Law of state transference, that. It's almost
Yeah.
like you have it's like, the law of state transference, obviously an emotional state can be transferred from one person to the other. Almost like a thought or an energy can be, especially with like, if you feel you're not worthy enough, the other person picks up on that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's like I've always just had a curiosity with the fashion, with looking the best, obviously. And again, like I'm only 5'7", so I'm not the tallest dude ever. I'm not the fucking, I'm never going to be 6'1". As much as I hang off the bar at the gym and try to like stretch my back out, I'm never going to be 6'1". But it's like, okay, well, again, as I said, that fear or that insecurity, list the benefits now. You know what I mean? If you're overweight, if you're this, you're that, list the benefits. Well, for me, if I'm short, it's like, okay, what are the benefits? Well, again, like I have to improve my dynamic range in my voice. I have to be seen without actually being seen. I have to be heard without being seen, almost. So it's like, well, that's a benefit. I've become very strong in the lungs and being able to talk a lot better. My voice is quite deep because I've put it deep. So it does sort of counterbalance that I am quite short. But then again, it's like another thing too, it's like I've also counteracted that belief that every person has to be shorter than me, that I have to be in a relationship with. It's like now it's like, tall girls, short girls, it doesn't really matter. It's because I don't really care about those things anymore. They're not boundaries to me. So
Mm-hmm.
I've come to a place where I'm like, there's no real boundaries for me. But yeah, getting back into the other things, it's like, again, I think it's like if these guys go out and they see like actual like examples, like the guy I was downstairs, we got a bar downstairs, one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen in my entire life, and he is 65 years old, and she's totally in love with him, and it's not like a sugar baby thing. It's like actual love. She's in her 30s, she's looking amazing, and I'm like, wow, this guy's overweight, he's got like kebab stains, but he's just the life of the party. As you said, he's that light that comes in the room, and you're like, I can see why she's attracted to him, because he is just this. He's bigger. He's larger than life. He's larger than just getting the girl. He's wanting to create a positive change in the world. So a lot of this times it's like, it doesn't matter if you're fat, skinny, tall, short, dressed this, that. You good?
Yeah, sorry. Avery is over here like shooting some music. So whenever
Oh
he's like
yeah,
talking
that's
to John's helping out with the video. So every time I'm not talking, I'll probably just start muting myself just so
oh
that
no,
I keep working too.
um, yes. A lot of times, like you get examples of like people outside, and you're like, damn, it really doesn't matter that much at all. Again, to an extent, it's like always try to put your best foot forward. Always try to be the best version of yourself. Always try to see the best haircut that might fit with you, the best glasses that might fit with you. More times people spend on their like appearance on looking what kind of glasses fit their face pattern or their face shape than actually just looking at good fashion. You know what I mean? So That's the thing that I'm looking at. I'm like, damn, you just like always just got to be improving it, you know? And I'm sure you are. I'm sure a lot of people are. And if you don't know, just start. Just like, oh, what's good fashion? What's not good fashion? What's the kind of the look? And every place you go to has a vibe. Don't get me wrong. So I like to look at the vibe. That's my biggest thing that I'm at. It's like where you are, where I am. If I dress like I am here, over there, I'm like almost a tourist. You know what I mean? If you dress like you are here, you are definitely a tourist with those long sleeves, man. Everyone here, it's about 35 degrees and it's raining outside. You know, so it's like singlet material.
So there's this I read this book about mastery, and he was talking about this baseball player, and
Robert,
huh?
Robert Green,
Oh
mastery.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah. I don't know the baseball meme, but yeah, tell me.
Okay, okay. So what he says is that like so this guy as a kid, he wanted to be the greatest pitcher of all time. And so he did everything in his power. He like hear some random story about something and he'd be like, "Man, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this." Just took advantage of every 1%er. And
Mm,
like at a certain point like he went so far as like he heard that oranges, I think it was oranges, no, it was carrots. Carrots would help his eyesight. And he's like, dude, it helped me out so much with improving if I could see the lace and the balls of flying through the air. So if I eat more carrots, I can see better. So he ate so many carrots to where his teeth, his skin turned orange, everything turned orange. And it was like, obviously, like that doesn't help out your eyesight, but the fact that he was willing to do something like that to take advantage of every 1%er, he's going to eventually hit something that's like a fucking fundamental that's going to
mm,
eventually like a big like fix. So I think
yeah,
about that in the same way like you're talking about, it
yeah.
adds up.
That's a funny thing. Probably goes down the path that then realizes he can put glasses on even though he doesn't need it to be able to see better, magnify it better or some shit. That's fucking funny. I like
Well,
that.
I have the weirdest. All right, so you're going to tell me about this because I run this through everybody because I have a really weird theory on attraction with men,
Mhm.
and for me it's very out there and like I'm probably like so like people say looks matter or don't matter. I come from a place where I was like a kid with acne, overweight and shit, and like had long greasy hair and stuff. And obviously, I've cleaned up my look. I look a lot better than I did back then. No lie, I worked on it quite a bit. I whitened my teeth. I take good care of myself.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm working on all the shit the same way like the 1%ers. Like I want to work on the 1%ers. Anything that could possibly help me out, I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But coming from that place too, I think that ultimately in the end, I think like there's the type of guy that a girl's attracted to is so fucking rare, like especially for a dime piece. Like don't get me wrong, like an average girl's gonna give a fuck about like looks because she wants to prove to herself that she's an attractive girl, maybe. Or maybe like if she dates like a guy that's not attractive, she's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna highlight the fact that I'm not attractive. Or if I'm a short girl, then and I want a tall guy, like a taller baby, and I date like a short guy or some bullshit like that, or what are my friends gonna think if I date this kind of guy or this kind of race? But ultimately, when it comes down to it, if you're what I call the exception to the rule type guy, um, anyways, if I come to the place where like I'm one of those people that is like dominant, masculine, leader of men, has this ethereal presence about me, like this almost like this pure confidence, like that's such a rare trait. Not to mention with a dime piece type girl like Ariana Grande. If you could be normal, cool, and fun, free with Ariana Grande, and believe that you're not just like at her level, if not a little bit above her, like you're gonna be able to joke with her, tease her, play with her, fuck with her. Her friends come around, her friends are flirting with you and shit like that because you have that energy. And like if you have that energy, you become what I call the exception to the rule. The things that would stop one guy from getting hot girls won't stop you. It's like you can be fat, you can be like short, Indian, Asian, like white with like a girl that hates white guys, some shit. Like you can be anything, and they're gonna backwards rationalize why they like you. And like I
Mm.
don't know how you feel about this. I think it's like I even have like a biological reasoning for it, and I studied a lot about biology for like past like 5 years trying to like again this could be content bias. Not even gonna lie because like I'm a pickup artist guy. Like I'm not lying.
Yeah.
It could be content bias. What do you think about this?
For my thing, I just did a series on how to befriend a celebrity from an old forum post back in the day, and one of the things was that bring that person or that celebrity into your world, right? Your ecosystem, your sanctuary. And there's two stories I got to this, right? So I did the thing, and I was like, yo, I haven't really like I've got a few friends that are big on Instagram. They're big people, and I talk to a lot of people, and it's like through our industry or helping individuals, especially men. There are some men that we help that are very very big, very popular, very individuals. What affects one man also doesn't affect another. We all come from this, we're all came from the same cloth, right? So, whether they're rich, famous, or anything like that, they still have their own problems. Yeah, so it's not as if we can't help them. We do help them. And so one of the thing was these two guys, and they're pretty famous in Australia. They come down, and it's on the weekend, and what I do was I was like, I just recorded the series, I just posted it, all of it, and I was like, sweet, it really did well. And I was like, I remembered the I think it's the eighth rule or something. It's like bring them into your world. And so I did that. So I got these two guys, and they got, one guy was one of the most famous guys on Love Island in Australia. So he's like, and then the other guy's like a very, very famous ecom dude. And I got him, and I was like, we're just at the door. I don't introduce myself. I grab him and like, oh, we're pretending to ID people as they come in. Like they've just come past 3 security checks, and we're the last one. So I'm like, I'm getting them across their arms, and I'm, excuse me, ID's place. And people are like falling for it. Right? And these guys are pissing themselves laughing, right? And it comes down to, it's like I'm bringing these people into my reality. These guys are the celebrity girls and wanting them, and he's like, the Love Island guy is so encapsulated by the reality that I've just created, just outside here, that we just keep doing it. And then the security's coming in, and then the security, because I've created now not only the bottle service girls, the hostess, the security are all in on this, and the security's like, oh no, just another ID check. To us, and we're dressed in like white shirts. We're not security at all, but just bringing them into the reality. And there was just one other scenario that I will say, very, very, one of the biggest female celebrities in the world, right? So I was in a place called Alfred's Coffee Shop. I won't name drop because I don't like to name drop, but I can tell you after. But yeah, I get into Alfred's Coffee Shop, and I'm with this dog that I had at the time, and the dog ran up after the girl, and she's like, oh my God. And then I'm like, instead of being like, oh my God, that's that person, holy, oh my, I've started being like, no, bring her into my, so I'm like, have you seen the trick that she can do? Yo, I gotta get you to do this, right? So I grab her, and you can spin the dog around, and loves it. So I'm like, try. So I'm grabbing her, putting her in position, she's doing it. She's getting her friends to video. Again, taking that person that I might not be the so-and-so called like ideal candidate, let's just say, but all of a sudden I am. I have my own reality, my own world that I love. And that's almost what anyone can be attracted to. Something that you have, your life, and you love it. It's like people just want that. People just want people that want to love life. It doesn't matter if they're a celebrity, they're someone that's not a celebrity, they're just a quote unquote normal person. You bring them into that world, your world, and it doesn't matter if you're not the ideal candidate, they would just start to love that energy. Because I think people, as you said, it might not be about the looks or anything, it's just the energy. People love energy. It's like my last girlfriend, it was like, I was the only person that was under 6'3" that she dated. I'm 5'7", so height does not matter, because it's like, it's the vibe, the energy behind everything that you do. And until people really understand that, and they have experiences like that, then they'll really understand it.
How did she, my girl too, she's told me that she doesn't date guys under 6'2", which I don't have like, and to be honest too, she actually, which is funny because she doesn't usually date white guys. She doesn't usually date like guys as quote unquote nice as me. She dates like fucking like gangster type guys and shit.
Yeah, right.
She says that supposedly like I'm the guy that she's had sex with the fastest. I'm also the guy that she's also been the most enamored with. Like she's all the fuck over me, and I'm nothing that like she thought that she logically wanted. And I think like I think a lot of it's like it's so back to like the celebrity thing. The thing that I've noticed is like you got to think about how other people react to that person, like to a hot girl, to like a celebrity. What do most people do? They gush. They bring up how awesome it is to talk to them. Like for me, whenever if I talk to a girl and I'm trying to pick her up, I know she's a celebrity. I ignore the fact. I play stupid. If she brings it up, like AVN comes out here every year, I go there and pick up girls. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
I'm a porn star. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And just change subjects.
Yeah, definitely. I remember back in the day when I was, the work for RSD was like any type of girl that was very open, like either she might have been a adult entertainer, she might have been a pole dancer or anything like that. You also said that you worked in this kind of industry, and it was almost like you had the same vibration. Now you're doing something cool, she's doing something like cool, and it's not the masses. It's kind of like out of the kind of the wilderness, and you guys vibe at the same sort of level. Because you're like, that's cool. You're being edgy and risky, and that's cool. You're being edgy and risky. So you're on the same sort of vibe. I understand that for sure. That's super funny. We have nothing like here. We have nothing like that here.
Yeah, well, it's like it's human too. I mean, like the person that cares the least obviously is the person that ultimately starts getting qualified too. Like the person that has like an inkling of a caring about the situation. But it's also it's a tough thing too for most people, I think, to talk to like a celebrity and be normal. But it's like you got to get to the point where it's like I don't like I guess you have to also too talk to like a bunch of people that are of that caliber to an extent,
Mm,
because what happens is like like the same way you approach girls is like when you talk to so many like attractive girls, eventually it's just like another person. The same way with like talking to a celebrity after so many like guys that are pretty, you know, popular online or on TV or whatnot. After you talk to enough people like that, eventually it's just again another person, and that's when I think it starts flipping, and you start being able to be capable of making friendships with those people.
I think there's a huge correlation between the celebrity and the hot girl, let's just say, because they're very similar. They get approached a lot, let's just say, or they get a lot of validation from a lot of people. So they have the same sort of mindset. That's what I've seen, you know? So when I haven't really had, I'll give you a story. You want to hear a story time? It was fucking funny the other day. I was on Saturday. I was just like, when I was fucking around with the two celebrities doing the ID scans and shit. And that's what I applaud. That's really funny. Like if someone walks in, just be like, oh no, ID, you know, just like it's a joke. And the amount of people that fall for it, so fucking funny. You're like, oh, Aquarius, eh? Oh, you know what they say about that or something, you know, just it's like, oh my God, this one's a Libra. I was like, anyway, so I was like, I was taking a piss right in the bathroom. So I go to the club, my buddy's got a booth. I'm like, oh, what's up, guys? What's going on? Went to the bathroom. This guy recognizes me from TikTok, but I'm midstream taking a piss. Big bear hug from behind. And I'm like, bro, get the fuck off me. Like, oh, thank you for that. And he waits outside, takes a photo and stuff like that. And it's really interesting because it's like, wow, it's like, I'm not anything. Like, I'm not huge or anything, but it's like, it's interesting to see how the enthusiasm by you might have been helping someone, you know? So this is what I see a lot. We come for this weird thing because we're actually helping people. So I
Mm.
don't know what the celebrities that are entertaining people, especially like come from. But I do realize when I had that little kind of I have it a lot in Surfers Paradise. It's a very small community, so a lot of people know each other. So when they see that, it's kind of like they have this like twinkle in the eye. Sometimes they're really nervous, and you're like, wow, it's like, you know, usually as a guy, you don't have anyone that's really nervous to talk to you that much ever really, you know. So I'm like, especially say if they didn't know what you do, you know.
Well, I used to get this thing with myself personally, and I think I imagine it's the same for them. I don't know if it's the same for you, but it's
Mm,
like I would like meet somebody that knows me from online, and I'd be like, man, wait till they realize I'm immortal, and then like I'm like fuck, or like realize that I have issues too and I have problems, and like that
yeah.
I'm not like perfect, and like sometimes maybe like I eat trash or some shit like that, and like or I'll like maybe I'll fuck like with my my girl here. I got lazy over the past couple weeks because like I'm such a love bug, and I have a high sex drive and shit. She wants to go travel somewhere, do something. And now I'm like, fuck. And my friends are over here like watching me like do this shit. I'm like, God damn it, I fucked up. Like John knows me originally from my channel, and he's actually more of a fan of me. Now he knows me personally. He's like, yeah, this guy's a dumbass. But like, like it's like that fear. Like if you're a celebrity and like everybody's supposed to see you a certain way, then like Louis C.K., people realize that he actually had a sex drive and everybody like lost their shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, he's a guy. Like, of course he like you guys were the ones that were fucked up for even like putting this guy. Yeah. I try my best, like kind of like come across more like authentic, like on these things too. Like I want people to know that I care about them and shit, but at the same time too, like I don't think you're gonna ever expose yourself like and be like, yeah, by the way, guys, I do all this stupid like shit too on the side. But it's a
But
big fear.
now that's like, yeah, well, definitely that's what my personal Instagram is for. It's like I'm gonna show myself doing dumb shit, you know what I mean? Show myself with like throwing my party, which was recently, and that was like crazy shit. You know, there was a bunch of, girls twerking, making out, doing all kind of. We had like a photo shoot, a video shoot, and it was just fun. You know, I'm still gonna show that side. I'm still gonna show that like I'm a person.
Mm.
That's what the thing I think, and that's what a lot of the time it's like. I always thought I was like some of these guys that don't show their real self. They're personal, who they are. You know, because they've had this thing called the Superman effect. You know, they're up in the lights and they don't show anyone. A lot of rappers and stuff like that get this. They don't show who they are, and then the scandal comes out or something, and they're like, oh my God, they're like, it's like, well, they're a person. You know what I mean? Like all of us. So I think I will definitely show myself, my true self, and who I am, so people get an understanding of who I am a little bit more.
Well, that's what I
And then,
realized early with the YouTube channel shit, man. Like it's like I like, all right, so you're gonna shoot for you, like especially with TikTok, you have to shoot a fuck ton of videos. Like with your stuff on like in your different platforms with your Instagram, you have to shoot a bunch of stuff. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be starting to get connected with you. Um, like you're going to get bigger over a period of time. So will I. And eventually our audiences will get to a point where like they're going to be very, very big. I imagine like we're both like very intelligent guys. Um, when that happens, like people like are going to have an image of you and an image of me. And if we ever break that image, the problem is now we're going to get like crucified. So I try my best to be as authentic with the videos as I can. Cause I know one day when I get that big, if I'm ever like, if they're like, oh my God, this guy has a sex drive. Like, I'm like, it's why I cuss a lot on camera. I'm trying to remind myself, look, you're allowed to be offensive on these things because you're allowed to offend people, because if you don't offend people now, you'll never be able to offend people in the future. And you're going to be confined and constrained by society, and you can't be you. And that scares
Okay.
me. I
Well,
don't know how you feel about that.
I take a lot from like the influencers, like the Nelk Boys, Tanner Mongoose, and all these kind of other influencers, and be like, okay, well, you know, they're still here. They've had their scandals, everything like that, and they're still here. It's because they're pretty authentic. You know who they are. They're never as you said, they're never showing a completely different image of them. You know what I mean? One of the laws in that thing was you know, when people put you on this pedestal, this thing, they glorify you, and then you're like, what if they find out who I really am? You know, I jump in, like I bought like freaking like KFC chicken before, because it's like the last time I'll ever get to get it downstairs. I'm like, oh my god, what if they find out? Then I'm like fucking fat shit, even though I go to the gym and stuff. But I think that's the kind of thing. It's like just being authentic and being able to, you know, show that side of you, which is the fun. And that's for me. It's like you know, with I've completely gone off infield. I'll never shoot infield ever. You know, that's for me, because it's like now I want to show like more the activities I do with friends, the social circle I can build and everything like that. That's just me, you know what I mean? So that's also showing this like different side of like, okay, well, I can actually show my life, like who I am.
That's
And
actually a really good point, though. I like that.
yeah, show this like, okay, well, you know, like a lot of people, it's like if you are a Ty Lopez, you have to show that you can get people to make money. You can show yourself making money. So it's like, you know, with a lot of the time with the PUAs, you got to show that irrefutable evidence that you can help people get the lifestyle you want. And my thing is just like, I will just show you my lifestyle of who I am, and I can teach you how I kind of did it. You know what I mean? Especially with the social circle, the internal belief system that I structured. And that's where really I think that a lot of the time, you know, especially, you know, we have the biggest impact is that internal structure within the person and becoming this new version of themselves. You know, a lot of the external, I think, happens organically, or especially happened for me organically, by just going out, just having fun, putting myself, you know, progressive desensitization of rejection. And now it's come to a point where it's like, okay, well, I'm now this person because a lot of the internal stuff that I fixed, and the belief system, and being able to be, as I said, conscious instead of unconscious Sam back in the day on Facebook. I
Yeah.
watched some of the status posts were so bad, bro. Oh, they were bad.
Dude, well, your
That shit.
social circle's fucking fire, though, dude. Like all the shit you're doing with that, dude. Your friends look, you guys are always looking like you're having fun. Your girls that you hang out with, like super cool and super fun, which like hot and personality out here in Vegas is not exactly like coinciding all the time. It's very tough to find the two of those. So usually you gotta like choose one or the other. You're like, you know, you're cute and you have a personality. Okay, well, you're hot and you know, you're dumb as rocks. I mean, like maybe every Thursday or so.
Yeah, for sure. They go to the same place, same thing. They're after the celebrities. I know what Vegas is like. I remember I lived there. I lived there.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say this. That's actually a big problem I've had. So for a lot of years, I didn't do infield either, and I don't. This is the reason why. Well, one, because I'm a big stickler and I'm a big like perfectionist. So if I see myself make one mistake on infield, I'm like, fuck. Like I know that nobody's gonna notice this other than me or somebody else that's really good at game. But I'm
Yeah.
not. I don't want to like just because I'm such a fucking perfectionist. I'm like,
They're
fuck that
almost
shit.
like the people you want to impress, eh?
Yeah.
They're-
Like I don't want you looking at my shit and be like, haha, look at this loser. He said sorry on the open. Who the fuck says sorry on the open? Or like what else? Like the big thing was like I just don't want to hurt any girls either. So I'm doing like a really hard job of like trying to like make sure that I like protect everybody's identity and shit, not making any girls feel like they're like an idiot forever talking to me. And also lastly, I don't like the idea either that that like I don't know, like if I mess around with a girl, I will never put up a video. Like, let's say I'm shooting a video and I messed around with her, I would never post it ever. Just because I wouldn't want to like, or let's say like I talk to a girl, get her number and we're talking, I like her, I'm not gonna post the video up unless like she gives me like approval or some shit, but I'm not gonna do that shit. Like it just, I don't want to hurt anybody. So it's like a fine balance too. But
Yeah, I think, you know, it's again, it is in that sort of thing. It's like, how do you, you know, back in the day, how do you teach someone to throw a javelin back in 1901 when there's no video? You know, no one knows. They're like, oh, I think you do it like this, you know. So a lot of the time, it's like, you know, the NFL guys watch back tapes and everything like that. And this is just something that helps a lot of people. It's never intended to hurt anyone or anything like that, especially the other person involved. But yeah, it's just that it is like, for me especially, I was just like, well, why don't I like showing off my social skills. I like showing off this kind of area now, which is interesting for me. It's like I'm not someone that's a professional just yet at it. I never want to be a professional at it. I just like enjoying myself and just having fun with whoever I am and being able to help people. And that's the kind of thing. It's like where the whole everything's going. Let's just say like helping. For us helping people, we don't know where it's going to go. We're just having fun and doing the thing we're doing. We love doing it, especially as you said, that mastery, being able to perfect something is being able to not only have a purpose and be able to be so enthralled by it that you want to almost get to mastery is an amazing thing that should be cherished. Something like these don't happen to many people. A lot of people have sports and stuff like that, yeah, but in terms of more the human psychology, human behavior, it's like it's a rare thing that people can find a passion and really want to help people with it. It's always done with the idea of helping people, never hindering people.
Well, there's this thing with like so with success and stuff, and like when I first started this, I think about it a lot, and I think about like the amount of like, so if you want to do something like as incredible as something like you did, for example, like I don't know if I'm gonna like parrot you're probably like what's happened up to this point. I don't know if you're gonna agree with this, or like you have just way more self-esteem than I had. Like, all right, so like I imagine you were just taking the actions that you're like, man, I'm gonna do this regardless of the shit that I get back in return. And like, and then you just kept plowing into it, and you kept having fun doing it. It kept kind of like giving into the purpose and learning shit and having fun. And then eventually something came out of it. It's, you didn't do it because of what you were going to get out of it necessarily, maybe. But like there's a factor of that there, but probably for the most part, it was a big factor of you just like loving what the fuck you did and like wanting to help people out.
I think I came from so low down that it was just like, it was just to get out of that position. That's it. Just to get one step away. And I don't really think if you know the story, it's like, I don't think that it was like, it was definitely done with a purpose in mind, a divine intervention, something like that. But how close it was to the end was, it's pretty freaking like close, So I'm like, it must have been there for something. I must have a purpose in this to help this for some reason. I must have something, But yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, at the end of the day, I love how you say it's like, what I've done. I think I'm like, oh, I've just done something, it's not that cool. It's just more for me, you know what I mean? But like, I'm glad that everyone can take inspiration from it. Again, I was just a kid from Australia, just being like, I just want to improve where I was in life, and the spirituality and the understanding of myself came along with it, which is fantastic, And from a kid that used to like, I remember there was a story as a kid, I was 18, the hottest girl in my city. I like was able to befriend her and said that I was going to buy her all these drinks for her birthday, and that I knew the bartenders, I knew everyone, I could hook you up. And then when she asked for like 32 vodka Red Bulls, I pay out of my money the 32 vodka Red Bulls. I'm paying $1,600 every time I see her. I never wanted to be that kid again. I never wanted to be that person. And so from then to now, it's been a huge change. And I think it was just like, as you said, when you have this idea that it wasn't about being the best, or it was just about getting from that position out a little bit, just one step ahead, never looking at like, I wasn't looking at being like, I want to be the best in the world. I wasn't aiming for that. I was just one step, just one fucking step. That's it. It's like, again, it's the thing, you drive from fucking like Vegas to Arizona or something like that. You're not, 2 minutes in the drive being like, are we there yet? We there, you're just driving and looking at the road ahead. That was what my path always was. Just looking at that, 100 meters ahead, or that one step ahead. And then from there, it's just like, I have a little quote that I had before. I'm going to get it up because it was quite freaking good before that I looked at. And it was just like, I realized that when I came down to it, especially, because it's like, I'll see if I can get it up. It's going to take a little while. But the thing that I drew upon was, this is hard doing two things at once and talking. Yeah, I was just looking at it. It was just like something I wrote the other day. It was quite pretty good, because I came from this point that I didn't have this idea of like wanting to be the best, but I never had an option. I didn't have any other option. This was it, and that was the thing that I think a lot of people think, that there's a lot of options that they have, like, and my understanding was like, well, this is the path to do it. I just do it. There's no other option. There's no other, oh, no, I won't do it. It's kind of like when you take the red pill. It's like, well, you can't unsee what you just saw. And so when I saw it, I was just like, oh, well, there's no one seeing what I just saw just then, you know, so I have to do it. I can't really find it, but the idea was saying that, you know, I almost took the idea of like, you know, progressing in my life, especially, you know, from where it is, you know, I've been doing it for freaking, you know, all close to 10 years, especially, you know, after that sort of that breakup that I had, you know, nowhere near as long as you've been doing a little longer. You got a few years on me.
Well, it doesn't mean, I don't know, like it doesn't mean that you know any less than me. To be honest, I'd actually argue that you know like quite a bit more than me, especially in certain areas. I was an idiot about the way I improved, man. You did way better. Like I took too long to find mentors. And actually here, I want to wrap back to the other idea because you talked about something. So like I actually wanted to make a point for this for anybody watching this video. If you're asking me at 21 where I would have been by 28, like 28 now, could about to be 29 here in a month, I would have said dead. And like if you were like ask me like I don't know what's my next option, like what's the next thing I'm gonna do like this year, and I'm like just like I don't know, like get a girl to like me, get a number, some shit like that. And you know it's just like the next thing, and like eventually like your brain kind of opens up and pops open. So like now this becomes available, and you're like, okay, I feel a little more like I feel a little more confident to take that next step, and I feel a little more confident to take that next step. And eventually the next step is like, you know, you're running a business and shit, and you're trying to make some money, you're trying to like help people out, you got an audience and shit. And now like, you know, fucking blow them up on TikTok and you get recognized in the bathroom, some kids trying to hug you from behind.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's the crazy thing. It's like it's never been this like solid path of knowing exactly where you're going. It's like, oh, go over here, go over there. You're zigzagging like a fucker. That's how they teach you to run away from a crocodile. That's your life. Running like, oh fuck, oh fuck. You know, that's the whole thing. It's like, yeah, you would have thought. Like, I only started TikTok in November, bro. That's the crazy thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
it's so
crazy
easy,
thing.
dude. The fifth video that I posted up on there. So anybody watching this too, if you're not on TikTok, I know it's for children and stuff. Supposedly it's not anymore. Like that's a myth for people there.
14 to 18, I think it is now. It's like a full on.
My fifth video hit like 5 million views or some shit, dude. It's like it's the easy. The views are so fucking easy. Anybody in a business should do that. If you're an attorney, like there's an attorney now that started doing YouTube videos and he started popping off and
Yeah,
he like teaches people how to like like he now he gets like consultations on the side, makes extra money, gets people want to hit him up. Like you should be doing that shit. But
that's
man,
the thing. It's like, yeah, you find your niche. Yeah, like you did. You find in the fifth video it popped off. You just continue with that, double down on that sort of format at least. That's what I
exactly.
did. You know.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah,
I did like a start making it into a series for me, like the first video.
yeah.
Mhm.
Series never really pop off as well as they usually did, but that first video is just like viral. You know.
Mhm.
But
I
I think
like
that yeah, go on.
I usually look well like you look at any platform you want to like I don't know like you buried into your niche, you look at everybody in that niche and you see what they're all putting out there, and then you try to look for like a gap in the niches, like maybe you're like, okay, so everybody's putting out this, what's the market need here, and like then you like hit that area where the market is needed, like what are people seeking like subconsciously but they're not finding, and then you like try to hit that
Yeah.
area, like you know what I'm talking about.
100%. Yeah, that's what I did. There was like 15 videos before the video really popped off until I found my niche, and then I found it. Boom, skyrocketed. I was like, oh,
Mm,
interesting. And then
you
doubled
found a
down.
lane.
So that's what you see. Like, yeah, even with mine, it's just like the exact same format every time, every time. It's never different. But
Yeah.
that's where you different ideas, different sort of things. You know, my next one is like from this one, I was like, oh, mentors, that's a good idea. You know, so I say a controversial thing like, you know, when Jim Rohn says 5 people, really you only need one person. You know, that could be the start of the intro, and then I'll explain it and then wrap it. You know, so you get from everyday life. That's where I get my content from. I'm sure you get your content from everyday life too. So
How are you doing your coaching too, man? I'm actually curious. Like, so what do you do? You do consultations? Do you like?
yeah, I just do consultations at the moment, and then I'm building out a 4P method, which is a 4 product empire. So that means is that there's the first product is free, so a 7-day trial, free module, or anything like that. It could be a free webinar or anything. Second product is a product 497, which is your core product. So that's the one you're putting the most time in. From there, the upsell of that is your high ticket product, which is your one-on-one mentoring and maybe a private group, you know, small individual people. And then on the side, you get the subscription-based product. So that is when you build out so much content in the core product that it's too much content. You take some of those modules and you put it into a subscription base that's $99 a month. So you have a subscription, and in those ones you have all these types of things. So you might have a group, a Slack group in for or a Discord group or anything like that for the other products. And in this one, you might have weekly coaching calls. You might have access to, in the 99 version, you might have access to your Patreon for free. Your Patreon's another kind of access. So it's like mass amount of recording, right? So that's my idea. It's like you can't put on a facade when you're recording so much content. You've got to be very authentic, because it's like,
Oh yeah.
can't help it if you're always recording. So it's like, okay, well, so the next thing is now just getting a full-time videographer. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and
what I.
eventually, like if you say something like too, so like if you're putting out so much content, at some point you're gonna say like, so let's say like you say something and you say it disingenuously or something that doesn't like align with your actual beliefs. Later down the line, you're gonna say something that contradicts it. So you like, and you're never gonna be able to keep up with the amount of content you put out.
Yeah, I contradict a little bit of mine, because social dynamics, as you know, changes every freaking couple of months. You know, there's always new sort of ideas, new beliefs coming through the world. You know,
Yeah.
so
My
I'm
girl
all.
kept calling, so I just like I just turned my phone off. I don't know.
He's
Sorry
being
about
hit
that,
up.
man.
Man's being hit up. He's very sought after.
She likes me a lot. She's at
That's good.
times can be a little bit needy, you know what I'm saying? So, you know.
You always keep it nice. Like, how do you do that? Because that's a big thing. That's a big epiphany that I had last year.
Hmm.
You know, I had a lot of people, after the breakup, I was very cold and everything. I had a cold heart. I was very, I just didn't want to put myself around that situation. I just wanted to recover. And then for a while, it's just like I kept just new person after new person. And then that wasn't fulfilling. That wasn't the lifestyle I wanted. I wanted people to actually like me for me, want to be around me, actually organize events and stuff like that, and get real relationships. And so that was my biggest epiphany in 2019. Be it how to actually have long-term investments from people that you're interested in. The biggest thing is that not only is it's got to be reciprocated, you have to have that interest in the other person. You know what I mean? So that comes down to not just looks, because a lot of guys are like, oh, looks is what it is. I like the look. But
Hmm.
no, it's like being very transparent on what you like in a person. And it's not, you write down, Anthony Robbins is a great video. And I teach all my guys this. Watch the video, and it talks about, write down the physical traits, emotional traits, mental traits, spiritual traits. And you write down the physical traits, and there's like 7. And you're like, okay, I'll do the other ones. And then when you realize there's like 57 personality traits right there, you're like, oh shit. The one of them is like, you don't like, for me, if a person's laugh is really annoying, I really can't deal with it for like more than a couple of days. So that's a personality trait. So I write down all of these other ones, and then I realized, yeah, there's 57 personality traits versus 7 physical. I'm like, wow. So it comes down to a lot of those. So I find something in everyone's personality that I really like. And then I've realized that that's really worked wonders for me, getting very specific about the person that I want in my life, whether it's friendship, whether it's a girl that I want to date, whether it's a full relationship, whether it's a social circle, getting very specific and then going after that, really. And it's funny how the more specific you get, the more you actually can attract these people for longer term investments in your
Oh
life.
yeah.
Not just the one or two person, but like I'm talking 10, 20 people, want to do that. And you're like, wow, that's an incredible thing that you can do.
Yeah,
Open
well,
yourself up.
I personally have like a 20 to 30 list. I don't have 57. That's an intense list. But like
Yeah.
I remember where girls would fuck up with me. Like a lot of guys that are like that aren't very good with girls. I mean, yes, are like I'm gonna date a girl I'm attracted to,
Oh, of
but
course. That's the
oh,
number one. But yeah.
yeah, but ultimately, like, dude, if I can't fucking like, if I can't like, have sex with you and lay next to you and be like, man, I want to like keep talking to you, hanging out with you, like, fuck no, like, I probably won't even have sex with you to begin with. And that's an energy too girls pick up. It's like you have that energy, like you want to scream, and now
Yeah.
because you have that energy, girls pick it up and they start chasing you to an extent. It's like,
You're transferring this pure positive energy into them, because you actually like them as a person. Not maybe the looks. Obviously, you like the looks, but them as a person, they feel that. And that's what a lot of people get caught up in with. Is just the looks, but not
it's
the
because they
actual
haven't
person.
gotten enough girls yet, or like enough like abundance in their life. Like you got to get like be so overflowing with abundance to an extent to where it's like, man, look, I fucked everything. Like I know what it's like to be in like with every type of girl, every type of look. And then once it gets to that point, you're like, dude, I just want to be with somebody I really like. I like talking to. I can be like best friends with. Like, why would
And
I fucking want to fuck with these other bitches?
I can already hear the counter arguments of like everyone like going
Yeah,
like,
I
oh.
know.
But the funny thing is, it's like that way is not incorrect. So those guys are not incorrect. We're not incorrect either.
No.
It's like, it's just 2 different lanes, that you can be on it. And it's like that person that's, constantly like different girls is in that lane of his life or that lane of her life or whatever. And they will switch eventually. Don't get me wrong. We're very, we're creatures of habit. And, you know, if you look through the whole of the world and you see this, it might not be a monogamous relationship, but this coupling of two individual souls is very common, especially through the animal kingdom, insect kingdom, the reptilian kingdom, especially us as humans. And it's not the fundamental idea of the monogamy is very, very sound. It's just that, you know, there's so many complications with everything that we do now that we still want someone in our life. It's not as if we don't, and we do like someone that is of, you know, someone that we're attracted to. Obviously, whether that's going to be, you know, I won't go down the monogamous or the polyamorous or anything like that. But the idea that we do enjoy, you know, someone that does enjoy our time, whether it's we're in that time of life now, whether we're not. You know, some people might get to 40, and that's when they fall. They really want that twin soul, because as I've seen through as people get older, they really, when they find that they're getting a little bit more dependent on other people, they really want that other soul there to help them to feel like they're not alone. And this is the whole idea that we don't want to feel alone in the world. That's the big thing.
There's a
You
lot
know,
of
so
pressure on people nowadays too. Like, so for me, I think like, all right, so do you feel 110% happy being single? Do you?
I would say I'd say 95%, 90 to 95% for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially in the same sort of the time period that I was in RSD. And in RSD, I chose a beautiful relationship that I never regret. But now I'm in this. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should. You know, I've got everything set up. Maybe I should continue just being, you know, the person, the solo, you know, for a little bit.
Well, it's good
Yes.
for you, I think. I think a lot of guys, like for you to actually like talk to a girl and like, all right, so when guys are like so hardcore chasing for relationships and shit like that, they don't feel like you're taught by society that like a girl's gonna complete you, a relationship's gonna complete you. But when you aren't completed yourself, you're never truly capable of really connecting with another person in a true, honest way. It's like when you need something for somebody, there's no way in hell. Like it's like when you need oxygen. Like if somebody's choking you out, like what would you do? Like what would you not do to get them off of you? Like if you had a knife, you'd stab the person. Like in the same way,
Yeah.
it's like a codependent relationship. You can't really connect with the person because you need them. Like
Yeah. You need them to be yourself or something like that.
yeah,
Never feel.
you like you need them to like to feel complete and like when like how are you ever gonna be able to like actually truly do what's like best for them if you need them? Like you should be able to like do so much. You should be able to self-sacrifice for the person you're dating to an extent. I think that's a real relationship. It's like a lot of people will put up walls with each other, and I remember I used to a lot. I got really good at faking shit. Like especially through game and stuff, I learned every tactic in the world. I could play up any like kind of character and shit like that. And I got really good at getting laid doing that, but it always felt like I was alone. And like even I would do it with my friends, my family, people like business, like people in business, like everybody around me. And I've always felt alone, even though I was talking to everybody. I'd be going out every day. And at a certain point, when you put up so many facades, you like I could just never feel like I could like really branch that gap between me and another person. So even though I'm with everybody and have all the shit going, I still feel alone. I don't know if you ever felt that,
Mm.
but like it's a big factor for
Yeah,
me.
I definitely relate to the caricature of the characters that we play in the individual people for sure. I think as a young kid, we realize that if we act a certain way or change our behavior, we, you know, either for me it was to stop someone from getting angry. That was the first one. Someone would get angry when I do certain things, and then you have this idea that if you don't do that, they will. They'll be angry, and that's the first steps of people pleasing as a young kid.
Yeah.
You know, pleasing someone, and that's it. Just continues on and continues on, continues on, and then you realize that I guess, you know, everyone has this understanding, especially, you know, that if we can play these characters, you know, play these characteristics. A great example is like when people tell you, a lot of people tell you, you know, it's like wait, you know, wait 6 hours to message a person. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you know, then you're like, okay, well, they tell me to wait 6 hours to message the girl because, you know, or someone because you know, she waited 6 hours or they waited 6 hours, so you wait 6 hours is a lot different than if you're really busy and you have 6 hours, you can't reply in those 6 hours. You're doing shit, you're doing everything. Like now it's like, you know, for example, it's like you know, a guy could say like, or you could say that, you know, someone could say to someone, it's like, wait those 2 hours, or we're on a podcast, I literally can't reply, and then I reply when I get off. There's a genuine authenticity that even comes from a text message, which is really weird. On this energetic level, there's just so many different things that we can go by, and you can probably feel it. You probably tell, like when you play that character, it's inauthentic.
Mhm.
It's you can even rationalize to yourself that it's authentic, And that's what my company's all about. So the whole idea is called REME. It's called REME, right? So rediscover. So the letters stand for rediscovery of the authentic me. So the first two letters, first last letters, and it's kind of the understanding that we play these characters a lot in our life, and we don't really know who we are. We're told like this, told like that. This is a trend. You should like this. You should do this. You should do that. And a lot of the time, I'm teaching and helping, especially guys and girls. What are they actually like? Not that anyone else is like. Everyone's like, oh, buy AMC, buy GameStop, buy freaking Nokia, buy all these stocks, and it's like, well, you're just following the trend of everyone. Go on to Clubhouse, Elon Musk there. Go on there and talk to him. It's just like, do you like that, or are you following everyone else? I want to find the authentic you. What do you like? And a lot of the time, what people like is very abstract, different things that they like that not a lot of people like either. It's just that I find that it brings their natural self, not this like superimposed self. And Owen talks about it a lot, that sort of caricature that we play in life a lot of the time. But yeah, it's interesting, as you said. It's like when I guess we all have a little bit of it, don't get me wrong. I was on the phone to a real estate agent. I'm putting my best self forward. I'm putting my best self.
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes even I get insecure, and then I don't know, like when we first started this call, I kind of felt a little more like, like I haven't talked to you in a while and stuff like that. So I felt the need to like want to do that. And then I kind of was like, I had to move through it. Obviously it's like you learn how to kind of how to deal with it. I mean, and like, obviously it's an expunging kind of thing too. I think over time of like, obviously like it's a habit of putting up a wall, and you don't even know who you are most of the time. Most people don't know who they are, have internal intelligence, what's called intra and I can't remember the name. It's basically just a self-understanding, the ability to understand who you are and what you are and your drives, and just like almost I don't know, trying to modify it and become better, but at the same time too also becoming authentic to it. I guess it's like it's a balance.
Yeah, it's definitely an industry that needs to be like doubled down in, especially in the future, because
Yeah.
as we can see, there's a lot of controlling done, especially stay at home orders, this and that. And some people that might not be used to that, or might not like, I've had a few messages from people being like, I don't deal well with authority figures, and this whole lockdown's driving me crazy. And I'm like, wow, I would have never thought of something like that ever. Some people are having that issue, because they're being told what to do. And I'm like, wow, it's, so many different ideas and different things are coming up
Well,
because
most
of
people
that.
are suffering, man. Most people are suffering hard. Most people, like Tyler's right. Most people are gonna have like terrible lives, and it's not. I mean, most people, even though like, I mean, obviously we could try to help as many people as we can, but most people are gonna, unfortunately, like they'll never figure this out for themselves. They'll have too much of an ego. They'll never be able to like ask for help. They'll assume like left and right that they're already perfect. You don't need it. Like I'm already perfect. No, man, that's for losers. I'm not a loser. You go help those guys out. You playing with me, man? I go buy boot camps and shit. I mean, I imagine you get coaching calls, right? I pay for stuff. I get in groups. I'm actually on that Clubhouse thing too. I thought that shit was funny you said that. My friends
Yeah.
brought that up last night. I was like, oh shit, okay. I just downloaded it on my phone.
Yeah, right. No, it's interesting. It's just,
Yeah.
again, as I go back to, it's like my mentor that I live with. It's like he's able to expand my mind. So it goes back to that mentor, being able to someone just like completely change your mind a little bit, to see things differently, to see where you can fall. You're never going to see your own pitfalls. That's the
Oh
thing.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you're
You
blind
have
to
to.
it too. You live with yourself all the
Blind
time.
to it. Yeah, your reticular activator is blind to it. That's the craziest thing. And it's like one of the things Ashley did this as an experiment. It was really interesting. So I was like, hey, bro, it's National Blue Card Day today. And he was like, you really? For real? I'm like, yeah, bro. And I got a fake article that I sent the person, National Blue Card Day today. And he was like, yo, and I called him up that day, and he was like, this is years ago. And I was like, what do you think of it? And he was like, oh, I saw so many blue cars day today. But then I downloaded the actual thing, and it was like National White Car or National Yellow Car Day, like actual the kind of thing. I think it was like national. I think that it was like more white cars. No, actually, more white cars have been sold this year than any other year possible. And he was like, "Yo, I saw no white cars at all. I only saw blue cars." And I was like, "Yo, that's so crazy that the brain can do that shit."
Well, it's like there's so much shit getting thrown at you all the time. So the brain is like very powerful. Don't get me wrong. There's no computer in the world that's like as has the computing power of a human brain. But with that being said, it's like they're like, all right, so like as I'm sitting in this room right now, there is more shit going on in this like stale room that I'm sitting in right now than I can ever probably fathom in my lifetime. And like your brain has to choose what in this like world are you focusing on. And actually too, this is a theory of mine. Um,
Yeah.
I think that like So I think like there's like this thing in your brain that tells you what you're deserving of, what you're not deserving of. And like, so like, let's say like for you, like $1 million deal comes around, but you're like, I'm not worthy of $1 million. So your brain just blocks it off, because if I were to chase it, I could hurt my self-esteem. But if something's
Yeah.
below me, then you get like almost like an ego hit, and you start fighting harder to get more shit. Then you get back to your stable baseline. And that's with
Yeah.
everything in life. Your brain
Oh,
blocks shit out.
that's fucking huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What's to stay in your lane? Just that
Yeah.
you have to stay in your own lane, and that's crazy. And that's where that imposter syndrome. When you get imposter syndrome, I think that's like a little indication that's like you're stepping out of your lane, or you get that feeling of uncomfortableness. You're staying out of your lane, and that's a good thing. You know, again, when I realized it's like, I think the biggest thing that I changed, like because I grew up, I came up very quickly in RSD. Let's just say, you know, very very quick progress. It was just every time I felt resistance, I challenged it. That's it. You know, and some of the shit, like, you know, again, I will preface it with saying don't do rational fears, like, you know, a balcony and a drop is a rational fear. Don't do that. But like, you know, the ideas of like some of the things I was like, what about if I run down this sand dune, you know, instead of walking down? What would happen? Like I might fall and shit like that. But there was a fear like, oh, like I can't do that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to conquer that fear or conquer that resistance and then run down there. Obviously, I ended up tripping, falling down, but then that's a story. That's a thing that I proved to myself, like, oh, I'm okay. I still conquered that. There's something that held me back, but I continue to do it. It might be approaching the girl. It might be, you might want to try. I think in back in the day, I was like, oh, I'm going to try some of this parkour stuff, you know, parkour. Like I jumped from one leg to another with a drop, and I was like, I don't recommend anyone doing this, but I did it for my fear. And I was like, yo, that's kind of, you know, or the ideas that Max used to teach, which was like, you know, sit in McDonald's, lie on the floor in McDonald's, or, you know, sing in the restaurant, or doing random stuff, that fear technology, that fear conquering stuff. It's crazy because I did realize, and I was like, there was something about like from the age of 0 to 6, don't quote me on it, but 0 to 6, you learn 2,000 rules or something like that. Some massive amount of rules. And I was like, these kind of things like teach you, like one of the rules is like, I guess, don't sing in restaurants or something like that. Don't, you know, like, don't go clapping down the street. You know, they're the kind of rules that we learn. It's like, oh, you don't want to impose yourself on other people, you know, stranger danger and all these kind of things. So it's like,
I'm actually writing that down. That's actually really good. I like the way you're actually saying this. This is really weird to like actually be taking notes. I'm actually down. I'm gonna say I'm taking coaching from you.
But yeah, so that's kind of things that I did. But, and you know, like this one, there's a rational fear. Let me tell you a rational fear. There's a lake right next to me. There is bull sharks in it, so there's sharks in it. But I have this thing in me that I want to swim across it. I don't know why. I have this thing. I'm like, to make it across, I'll be no different of a person. But it's that fear of like, oh, I don't think I'm going to do it because I know that there is like an actual thing, or I may just go fuck it and just do it. You know what I mean? It depends on where I come from, but I might be like, okay, I might do something different. Be like, okay, instead of doing that, I might hire a jet ski and go up and down the canals. You know, just conquer little bits like that. And that's what a lot of time it's like. Even with the guys that have these like mad approach anxiety, it's like, okay, well, let's do progressive desensitization on it, which is like small little things. You know, instead of going to the self-service at the fucking grocery store, go to the checkout person. That's one thing. Let's start at that. Baby steps. You know what I mean? The second thing, it's like, okay, well, you've done that. Now for the rest of the week, you're not allowed to go to a self-service. You have to go to a person that talks. No going to the McDonald's fucking thing window. You actually have to order from the person. You actually have to have communication. And especially coming out of this pandemic, that's the biggest thing. It's like, it's going to get more and more harder to have human communication. And which is going to be interesting. So this approach anxiety is going to get more and more because it's going to be less and less interaction we're going to have with people, more and more on your dating apps like Tinder and Bumble and stuff. And that's why I've been on it, but I really haven't, because I'm like, I've seen it as like a comfort. Like I'm seeking comfort instead of going out with a mask, maybe approaching your people, maybe talking to someone, which is very uncomfortable now with a mask. I know how uncomfortable it is because it's kind of like it's not only a barrier with the person, there's a barrier with a mask now, you know, the barrier of their mentality about the coronavirus and everything like that. So,
well, the mask thing is totally, if you approach and you don't, like, most of the time I approach, if you come across the energy that this is not a big deal, if they'll sense it off you and they won't see it as a big deal unless they have a very hardcore, like, oh, if you don't wear a mask, oh no, I could die from corona or some shit like that. But like, if I don't know, like for the most part, if you have the energy, like it's not that big a fucking deal. It's not a big deal. And I'll say this about like one last thing. You actually mentioned this, like with the going out and approaching, dude. It's all right. I'm gonna put it like this. All right. So what are the other guys out there not willing to do? So box theory. So you got to think like, what are the other guys unwilling to do? Most guys nowadays, especially nowadays, are not approaching. If you're that one guy that approaches, dude, that hits so fucking hard. I pimped out my dating profiles too because I worked for Endless Options for a little bit, and I
Yeah.
became one of their coaches, and I
Uh,
had yeah,
I think
dude.
I think Sarah did a bit for
Huh?
them.
Wait, what's good?
Sarah, RSD Sarah.
Oh yeah, yeah. She worked for him too.
Oh no, she did like an ad for him, I think, or I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe it must have been an Australian one or something like that. I don't
Sarah
know.
seems like a sweet girl though. I saw her like I saw her at one of the events. She seems like a really nice person.
Yeah, she's a legend. I obviously she's in a different state. It's like she was in Nebraska or something.
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys are in this like similar. Yeah, I should. I didn't even think about that. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Well, a lot of people in the states also don't know that Australia is like the same size as the states. Like
yeah,
it's just.
yeah, it's freaking massive. I think like the coast of like a lot of people don't know the coast of like America on like New York, all of that, all the way down to Florida is the same size as like New Zealand. And New Zealand's like this small little country that no
Because you
one
guys are in the corner of the map. They put you off in the corner. Like you guys are like the lost child of the states. You guys are also like, I'll say this, when you guys come to like when Australians come to the states, they're like the people drinking out of boots, partying the hardest.
yeah,
It's fucking nuts. Y'all are fucking crazy. And the girls that come over from Australia are fucking so sexy. Like I gotta
yeah,
say,
like
yeah, well, I also know to an extent too, it's so expensive to come here. So it's probably the rich girls, and that's why it seems like they're all hot. They imagine there's like a lot less of a lot more of a wide range of attraction, but that's how
I
it
mean,
seems
yeah,
in the States.
it's really interesting. I'll say this: it's like I was talking to a group the other day, and I was talking about how there's in different places there's different ideas or different value systems and stuff, and not a hierarchical thing, but like a value thing. And a lot of the girls here value partying and getting drunk and having
Mm.
fun, and so they should. They're young, they can. But then you go into different places and you get different sort of vibes and stuff like that. And that's what I was really interested about. I was like, what's it like? Because you have multiple places in Vegas. You got like the Strip, obviously, which is like crazy, but you got old Vegas. What have you gone out that much there? What's that like down in old Vegas? Like the
Uh,
old town?
it's wild, dude. All right, so out here right now, I started
Yeah,
getting like invited out to like kind of out in the party scene, my like between my friend over here, Sin City Vet, and then like between my girl's pretty popular in Vegas. I've been going to a lot of the parties out here on occasion. They're wild. I'll say this
yeah,
though, the drug scene's not exactly the greatest. You got to really avoid some people.
yeah.
The drugs
Well,
are just,
is the Las Vegas of Australia.
is it?
Surface paradise. Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
I,
Insane.
I will say
It's,
this though, getting threesomes is pretty easy out here in comparison, maybe somewhere like Kansas. I'm
yeah,
like, I don't think I'm gonna like, I don't think I'm gonna like pull some girl into a barn, like, with another girl and like, close her in a haystack. But like that stuff's actually, I don't know if like you ever like if you're like kind of like trying to check off your sexual bucket list on occasion,
yeah,
but
there's some things that I definitely like done, and I talked to a buddy, and he done a very weird. If anyone's watching, please disgrace.
I can cut this out if you want me to. Just let me know.
It's like he dated a porn star, like a very famous porn star, and
Mhm.
that's you've officially made another bucket list item for me to do. That's the goal. You know what I mean? Whether it's an Australian one, American one, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to do it. Like I feel this urge, and I'm
Dude,
like, well,
come out here
that's
during AVN. Like legit, fly out here during AVN. You're coming out with me. We're going to go game some porn stars. I'm not even playing. So they all go to the Hard Rock Hotel, and it's just
yeah,
covered, littered. And we'll go out with Sin City. Like he last year he actually he was like he has a bunch of porn star friends like over there, and like we'll go I go with him, and he'll get me into like a lot of the little shit and like parties and stuff.
that's
Um,
mad.
dude, it's so insane. All right, so this part I may or may not cut out, but we're gonna see.
Yeah,
Uh, they throw orgy parties. I'm like, I don't like orgies personally, uh,
yeah,
but like they throw that shit. It's fucking nuts, man. Like I would just walk into I pulled last year. I pulled a girl out to my car in the parking garage. Like one of the guards, there was a girl on like, was it the casting couch thing? One of the girls that goes in those casting couch things. I
yeah.
fucked her in the backseat of my like crappy Nissan Altima. Like it's like dude, it's fucking wild, dude. If you want to get like if you want to like get something checked off your bucket list, come the fuck out here, dude. Come hang out with me,
Uh,
dude. Hang out with my boys.
well, I remember, one of the times I don't think you should put this in, but it was like the It was in excess in 2015, and I pulled her to, or she pulled me back to her place, which was the penthouse at above excess.
Oh,
Like
I
the
didn't even know there was
penthouse,
one actually. There's a
right?
penthouse above the excess. Like,
Like I'm talking like, oh, I might have been Encore or something. The Encore Hotel, it was right up the top with the pool,
oh, now I get what you're saying.
the helipad at the top, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, what is going on? I'm like, I'm a 21-year-old kid, just be like, holy shit. Yeah, it was insane.
They
I
have
remember that.
mansions over at like, so in some of the hotels, they have mansions for like celebrities and shit. One of the things I want to do, because I've been here for a second now, I want to get like invited to a party at one of those mansions. So they have ones in the MGM, they're for celebrities. It's like,
Yeah,
it's from what I understand is why you don't see them walking the strip. You're not gonna see like Tom Cruise with his entourage walking up down the strip ever. It's because they're in these fucking mansions, like where they're just like hiding away from like the crowds and shit. I'm like,
yeah,
man, how the fuck do I get in there? I want to go hang out, like just like as like a, just something fun to do. Go try it out, like kind of, mess around a bit, man.
yeah, for sure. That's the kind of my thing. I've definitely had goals with like social circle of definitely,
Mm.
to know the people in the Gold Coast, to know the parties, to go to the parties. And that's what has really been the thing. And the first thing is like I tell guys to identify what you want, especially like that, the top 100, or Luke calls it the 500 or anything like that. And then go to the places that they go. And just like literally your cold approach
Oh, that's a
experience,
good point, actually.
go to the thing. So I literally go on Instagram, I find the places, and I have a list of 100. So it's like if I know on a Tuesday at 4 p.m. right now, I know that I can go to the Collective at 5 for happy hour, which is in Palm Beach. I know that I can go here or there, and I've seen on Instagram there has been people of significant value go to those places. There's a girl out the front, out the back, and she goes to this place, and she's got 12 million followers on Instagram. She's got millions online. So like, becoming friends with her, becoming friends with like the socialites. That's a word that a lot of these kids don't realize that was huge back in the day, which was a socialite. Someone that is considerably social and knows a lot of people. And so knowing those people in your area is huge. Obviously, your Sin City veteran, is definitely one. You've got your I think there was the guy. This is from me just knowing you, Michael Sartain's your Sam Ramis or something, Sam
Mhm.
Remus. He's
Yeah.
in, or your Sancho Van Ryans that used to be there, or lots of people that of, especially in LA and stuff. So I keep tracks on everybody, because that's the way. Again, if you go down to Miami, there's a few people down there that are popping. So I have a place where I keep on track. So I know the top 100 places in the Gold Coast. I know the top 100 places in Sydney, not Las Vegas, Los Angeles, yes, and Miami. The places that I would love to go to. So I keep track on everything, because I know, like, I want to know if I fly to a city, I know what I want to do. And if I continue the process of knowing who the right people are, what are the right places, I'm giving myself the best opportunity to be invited to a mansion party, because the right people are there at the right time, and we get a cold approach or social circle approach that person.
Dude, that's a great point. It's really funny. That's like a really easy fix to a situation. I actually, I didn't even, did you learn that from somebody or you figured that out yourself? Because that just makes so much sense. I never thought about something like that.
Yeah, my buddy Arlen is a huge he's very practical at the way he does things. So that was
Mm.
his kind of thing that he taught me, and I was like, wow, that's really, really simple, really effective also. So I was like, you did it for yourself, and then I created spreadsheets for it, give it to my guys and stuff, and they have like a
Shit.
cool thing. Yeah, it's a sick. So they get to like fully get run down, and then there's daytime spots, nighttime spots. Especially Vegas, you would have so many places that you go to. You know, you're like I don't know what the beach clubs are. I think about it when it's like open, as if it was open. You know what I mean? That's how I think of it. It's pretty open here. It's pretty exclusive. Like there's nothing that's restricted here, so it's very easy. Let's just say where I am. Maybe not so much where you guys are. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, well, it's I don't know, man. It's getting in with the right crowd, but at the same time too, not necessarily like I don't know, like I got my so these are all like all the friends that I got staying with me right now. These are all my like I got a group of tight friends. I got what I call my close friends that are like the people that like care about me and stuff that are like we're all like kind of just driven motherfuckers. Then I got my group of people that are like more acquaintances that they're like where like they use me for me to get them shit and then vice versa. Like
Yeah,
I get some from them. And obviously, I put myself not like in that mental headspace of like, I love you, man, that type of shit. But I still put up a wall with them to an extent
yeah,
because like I know they can't actually connect with me. But like in the same way, like with I don't know, in Vegas, like you need to definitely put up that wall though. Like especially in LA too, you
a
can't
little bit.
like put yourself out there like that. It's tough.
Yeah, I think you learn that through social circle. You definitely learn that by getting burned by associating with the wrong people. Definitely, yeah. And I've done that, especially here. And it's just like, you just take a step back and you're like, whoa, this is not the scene that I want to be, not a scene that I want to be part of or be associated with. And so you can, don't get me wrong, you can see them, especially if they're in the drug culture and stuff. And that's probably the ones I'm really referring to. And it's like, you can take a step back and be like, I don't want to be part of that again. But, on the flip side, it's like, as you said, you keep them at arm's distance. You do see them every now and then, that's the big thing that I do. But yeah, it's like from here, it's like, that's how I kind of infiltrated the social circles in here. Start to know everyone, you start to know the regulars, and that's the big thing.
Well, here, all right. So I actually want to talk about some shit away from like the recording and stuff like that. So I'll probably just like end the recording here, unless like you want to say something else and like get some shit in.
Oh, I'm sweet, bro. I'm sweet.
Okay, so for the guys who've been watching, like, fuck yeah, I'm glad you guys watched this. If you guys don't know who this is, Sam Matheson, go check his stuff out. I'll be leaving links down below in the comments and in the description. And if this is on Instagram, he has an Instagram account. Definitely go check it out. Sam Matheson. He's pretty fire. He's a very intelligent guy. He's a good person. Watch his stuff. All right, well, you have anything you want to say?
Nah, bro, thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.